This is the 2024 Ducati Multistrada V4S. Yeah, I did say 2024. I'm so sorry, folks. I'm so sorry, Ducati UK. I got given this bike this time last year to take away on the Chicken Strips Pyrenees tour for 2024. Did that. We had this one and we had the Rally. There's a great series coming. That's being edited next. Don't ask. But I thought I better get this out, seeing as the 2025 model is out already. 2024 is cracking. Have a look. See what you think. Hopefully, I'll get my hands on the 2025, and maybe by 2026, I'll give you that review. I'm so sorry, folks. It's been utter chaos here. But anyway, here's the vid.
This is like the girlfriend you really want. An absolute princess in company. But you know. Yeehaw! This doesn't have towel flick you in the nuts.
Is this Conqueror's motorcycle apparel?
It is indeed. Would you like a Magnum?
So, what is it like on motorways? Well, I have done, blimey, this is saying 1,670 miles at the moment, 1,669 miles. I thought I'd done about 2,000 miles actually. Oh, that's trip 2. Maybe on trip 1 it says 2,000 odd. I've had this bike for a couple of weeks, done a tour of the Pyrenees on it. I rode all the way to Plymouth from over here in Kent. I've done quite a lot of motorway miles. And I tell you what, I've got to give it to Ducati. This is a comfortable bike. It is a lower seating position than the big Rally. The Rally you sort of feel almost up and on it. This one you feel down and in it. But I like it, I really like it. Beautiful big sculpted tank. You can grip it with your legs, with your knees. What I'm missing with the 1300 GS, to be perfectly honest. Bars are nice and wide. Not as wide as the Rally. The bars are wider on the Rally, but I prefer this. The ergonomics of the Grand Tour definitely seem to fit me better. Foot pegs definitely feel lower and further forward than the GS, the 1300 for sure. They're not a huge off-road foot peg, but they're certainly not those stupid little needles that BMW have put on the 1300. They're just, I mean, why? BMW, why? I've got a set of Lone Rider ones, actually, motor pegs to put on, so hopefully they'll make a massive difference. Yeah, and in terms of like mile munching, the ergonomics of the buttons and things, everything is, you know, nice and easy to reach. The buttons are even backlit. I mean, why does BMW insist on not backlighting their buttons? And I know there's some of you out there make this, I mean, I make a big deal about the buttons not being backlit, and a lot of you make a big deal about, well, why should they be backlit? You should know where your buttons are. Yeah, very good. At night time, when you are properly riding at night, it just makes life so much easier when the buttons are backlit. You don't need to think about it. Even if you have a quick glance, you know where everything is. There's no fumbling around and putting your indicators on when you're trying to, I don't know, adjust the menu or whatever it is. Just backlight the buttons, please, BMW, please. But anyway, yeah, in terms of motorway, fast road, mile munching, the V4S Ducati Multistrada Grand Tour gets a massive tick from me. Very comfortable. The seat is lovely, really comfortable. I've done, as I said, near enough 2,000 miles on this, and I've never been uncomfortable with this seat. Couldn't tell you what it's like being pillion. I've never ridden pillion on this. I've not had a chance to get Mrs. Teapot out on this bike. She's been flat out with work. We've just not been able to get out on this bike together. So I'm afraid I can't help you with that one. Maybe somebody like TMS maybe done a pillion thing, or Lamb Chops maybe, I don't know. Have a little scooch about on YouTube. I'm sure somebody out there will be able to tell you what pillion life is like on one of these. Right, that's enough of the boring motorway stuff. Let's get on to the back roads. Is that fuel? I think it is. In fact, that's a lot of fuel. Normally a lovely corner this, but you can just see patches of fuel everywhere. Wow. Oh, can you hear that engine? That is what the GS is missing. And I'll get into that Oh, hear that engine? Oh, I mean, that's my biggest gripe with the GS at the moment, the 1300. It's just not engaging enough. It's too clinical, it's too refined. I've bought a full system for it. I've bought a full QD exhaust system. It looks absolutely amazing. I think it's about 1800 quid for the full headers, Ducati headers and the slip-on. So I'm really hoping that that transforms the bike. We'll see. This is stock exhaust, absolutely nothing done to the engine, as you would buy it out of the factory. What's my speed limit here? I think I am a 40. Although Carly's telling me 60. Is this a national? Not seeing any lampposts, are you people? There we go. This bike comes alive at around about 5,500–6,000 revs. I mean, your peak performance isn't until much higher up in the rev range. I think it's somewhere in the 9,500, 10,000 or even 10,500 rev range. Red line's at 10, but that's where your peak power is. And, you know, I can tell you this, from that Pyrenees tour we've just done, I got the revs up there a few times, and oh my good God. It pulls your face off from sort of 7,000 up, but when you hit 9 to 10,000, there's just an utter animal. But all of a sudden it just shuts off that power. There's bags of power and then it stops. You've got to change, obviously. So I would say the power is more usable on the GS, but this doesn't have towel flick you in the nuts. It is lovely. I mean, I wouldn't have said this bike is timid at lower revs, but it's fairly well behaved, you know. You're not going to get yourself into loads of trouble at these lower revs. It'll mind its P's and Q's for you. You could probably take this bike to meet the vicar. Do you know what I mean? Cucumber sandwiches, pinky out cups of tea, that sort of stuff. This is like the girlfriend you really want. An absolute princess in company. But you know, when the time's right. Oh, behave. Thank you very much. Oh, you're probably wondering, Bruce, why are you wearing ice heated gloves? Well, funny you should ask. There's a little story. Are you sitting comfortably? Nationals, but lots of traffic. Oh well, never mind. Because this thing devours traffic. Right, gloves, yes. You may or may not realise I like to wear very light sort of summer gloves all year round really, because A, it gives me lots of feel for working the cameras. I find with motorcycle gloves generally, some of these buttons are quite hard to feel on the cameras, so with the nice summer ones, the thin summer ones, it just makes it a lot easier. And also the heated grips on the GS are like the surface of the sun. They are thermonuclear, so I can get away in the winter with just those summer gloves and the heated grips and hand guards you get on the tractor. Yes, you might have heard I was in the Pyrenees a couple of weeks ago with chicken strips doing a tour down there, and when we came off the ferry I forgot about my gloves and I've left them somewhere at the port. But I'm on my way to my mate Sam's shop, Conqueror's Motorcycle Apparel. You'll have heard of me talk about them before. Well, he's just moved premises. Used to be on the A21 at the 1066 Bike Cafe. They've changed hands, new owners didn't want them there, so he's moved and he now has premises down in St Leonard's on Sea. So I'm on my way down there to pick up some gloves. I'll leave links down below. Make sure you check out their website, pop into the shop if you're free, and follow them on the socials. Great folks, really, really nice folk. Anyway, back to this thing, the Ducati V4S Multistrada Grand Tour. We're in a national and they're doing 30 miles an hour. Yeehaw! This thing is so much fun to ride. Way! This is what I'm missing. This and the KTM. These are the bikes for me. I'm telling you, I love my BMW. I do. I love the brand. I love the customer service. The new one is an utter weapon. It's like a scalpel. It's faster than this bike. We'll get into that in a second. The GS wipes the floor of this thing. In straight line speed off the mark, it wipes the floor with this. Happened in the Pyrenees. We had two 1300s and they both careened this on acceleration. This has, hang on, let's get out the 30. I hate talking about specs and power and performance when I'm dawdling along in 20s, 30s, 40s. My throttle hand's gone numb again. Did this in the Pyrenees. I thought it might have been the gloves, but it's done it again with these. Now, I'm not conscious of any vibration through the bars, but my throttle hand in particular goes numb very quickly in the fingers on this bike. There they are, look, there they are. Nationals! Right, listen to this engine when I get a chance to open her up. Just that. Oh, and that blipper is glorious. The blipper and quick shifter on this is sublime. It is so smooth. It's just beautiful. Okay, we're still in the National. Happy days. So this is the thing with me. When I was riding this in the Pyrenees, I felt like this thing was going like poo off a shovel. I felt like an incredible rider, like I was carving my way through those mountains. And then you look in the mirror and people are with you, or the likes of the GS's, they just overtake, and you think to yourself, bloody hell, like, you're not going as quick as you think you are. But it's the way it makes you feel. I love the way this bike makes me feel. I don't really care how fast I'm going. Well, that's lies. When someone overtakes, you know, it hurts, doesn't it? It does hurt. If someone can overtake you on sheer power and speed alone, that really does cut you to the bone. It's like on the track, you think you're knee down, you're going around the corner, and then someone just either goes around the outside or comes up the inside of you. No problem at all. It's a huge leveler. It's got 170 brake on it, 170, but it's got 125 Newton meters of torque. This is where you notice it with a 1300 GS. That's only got 145 brake, but it's got, was it something like 135 or 145 Newton meters? Or might even be like 160 Newton meters. It's got a lot more torque than this does. And that's where you really notice it. The pickup on the GS is phenomenal. It's like rip your face off quick off the mark. And I love that. That's probably the most engaging part of the GS for me currently. Hopefully with the new pegs, with the new exhaust, it transforms the sort of visceral feel of the bike. We'll see. But out the box, the Ducati gets it. This is just joy to ride. It's up there with the KTM, although I think I'd put the KTM Super Adventure S. I'd put that above this in terms of bollock tickling ability. Or lady bit tickling ability. Let's not be sexist about any of this. Oh God, does it put a grin on your face? I mean, that was nothing, it's effortless. It was fourth gear and just a turn of the power. Mind you, most of the modern adventure bikes are like that, to be honest. They've all got crazy power. Look, Nationals! There's the front, just comes up so easy. This is in sport mode. So sport mode, you've got anti-wheelie, you've got variable traction control, variable anti-wheelie as well actually. You've got full control of your suspension in all modes. I just whack it on the auto and just let it sort itself out. It's a little bit like, actually, who am I trying to kid? It's very like riding the BMWs with their telly lever or the Super Adventure S KTM. Same thing. I like it. I really like self-leveling auto suspension. In terms of handling, I mean, this is just so easy to ride. Like all the big adventure bikes, to be honest with you, I don't feel the weight of this bike. Speaking of which, this bike is 236 kilograms road ready, but with an empty tank of fuel. So this is a 22 litre fuel tank, so it's effectively another 22 litres of fuel you need to add. So where they claim 236, it's actually 258 full tank ready to go. The GS is 236, I think it is, fully laden, ready to rumble. While we're talking about fuel, it's a common criticism of the Multistrada in that it's incredibly thirsty, and you know, I've got to report to you folks, that's very true. This thing, you know, you can get 50 odd to the gallon if you're just trundling along and not really twisting that throttle. You can have some fun, but you're no way exploiting that engine. So you could see yourself getting 200, 220 or more miles to the tank. If you're riding it with any degree of spiritedness, shall we say, then you're going to be looking about 130, 140 before the fuel light comes on. The fuel light lies like a cheap watch. That range thing, range gauge there, lies like a cheap watch. When the fuel light comes on, you generally got at least 30 to 40 miles, normally, before you are in a world of pain. But it definitely is thirsty. Now, they have addressed that a little bit with the rally version. Now, they've addressed it by making it a 30 litre tank, so they've given you 8 more litres of fuel. However, they also have added a little bit of wizardry to the mechanics of the bike, and I believe it shuts down to something, I don't know. Go on Lamb Chops' channel and he'll tell you all about it. I don't know what goes on, but the Rally definitely rides differently to the Grand Tour in terms of the engine performance and the chassis and the feel of the bike. I cover that in the Pyrenees tour when Simon Weir and I swapped bikes. He had the Rally for the tour, I had this one, the Grand Tour, and then on one day we swap over. So check that out whenever that is online. Oh poo, I should have done a right there. Sorry. Nationals! And down comes the rain. Now, we're just going to have to watch this because it's been reasonably warm last week and now it's tanking down with rain. So these roads can be quite greasy and horrible. What a day to just be wearing my hoodie. Humpback, here we go. Nationals! Oh, that engine. Yeehaw! This bike is just a joy to ride. Yeah, handling wise, this thing is like a scalpel. The ride itself, I have it set very firm, and it is lovely. I like a nice firm ride on a bike most of the time, and this is really nice. Probably not as hard as the 1300 GS when you have that set on hard in dynamic mode, but I would say this suits me very well. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Listen to that engine. The brakes themselves, beautiful. They're not grabby in the slightest. They absolutely 100% do the job. ABS in this day and age and on a bike of this quality, as you'd expect, it is not obtrusive. It just gets the job done. What don't I like about this bike? Well, price for starters, 25.5 grand for this, the Grand Tour, but you do get pretty much everything with this. It's got heated grips, heated seat, it's got adaptive cruise control, which is good. I really like it actually, no complaints there. Comes with a blipper and quick shifter, comes with all the different riding modes, even comes with these panniers. Panniers I'll cover shortly. And Nationals! It just wants to lift the front. When you have it in sport mode, second gear, from a 30 into a National, pin it, you're going to point skyward. But the anti-wheelie is lovely, it just takes control, brings it back down. You can have a lot of fun on this bike. Obviously, wheelies are illegal, so don't do them on public roads. Okay, into the 30. That's lovely. Now I grabbed the front brake really quite hard there, no dramas at all, no juddering, just did the job. I'm impressed with this bike, genuinely very impressed with it. What else don't I like? The screen's not big enough on the Grand Tour for me. I'm 6'3", 20 odd stone. That is it in its highest points. Very easy to work. It's not electric, but you don't need that, do you? That's in the highest point there, but it's not high enough and it's not wide enough. The Rally has a bigger, wider screen. That does a much better job for me. This sort of just directs the wind on the motorways at motorway speed. It directs the wind and turbulence straight almost into my eye level. So I feel a lot more wind about the helmet and the shoulders on this than I do on my 1300 GS, for example. This phone cubby hole, this little pocket for your phone, the Ducati does have its own app. I think it's Ducati Connect or something, and it has its own sat-nav system. I think it's called Synage or something like that. I've not used it. Simon Weir was using it on the Picos tour with me, and it was an abomination. It wasn't very good. The language coming out of that man was horrendous, and I got the gist that he didn't like that bit of software in the slightest. So I haven't bothered using it. I use Kalimoto. I've got Ultimate Add-ons as a sponsor as well, same as Kalimoto. So I'm always going to use this anyway. I don't like the way all the manufacturers are trying to tie you up into their own little ecosystem. It's like they're trying to Apple everything. BMW, they want you to use their BMW Connect app to get all the bells and whistles, and that's what you should be using. I don't want to. I want to use whatever app I want to use. Because to be frank, they're not very good, and there's better ones out there. But that wasn't the reason this thing gets on my wick. This gets on my wick because, well, now it opens. So it keeps popping open all the time. While you're riding, it'll just pop open. To open it, you just push down. But when you get off the bike, you put your hand there, so you end up opening it. And then it won't shut. I mean, it won't shut. Well, there we go, it's shut now. But you have to hit it quite hard. Servicing. Now, like everybody else, I'm under the impression Ducati ownership is fraught with issues. Or so I thought. I didn't think it would be particularly reliable. I didn't think the customer service would be particularly good or uniform across dealerships. So I put a thing out on my socials asking for actual owners of the V4S Ducati Multistrada to comment and let me know what is life like as an owner. And I'll tell you what, bar I think 2 negative comments, and there were a lot of comments across YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. There were a lot of comments, and on my Patreon over in the clan, patreon.com/TeapotOne. There was only about 2 negative ones. Everybody else who actually has owned one of these bikes or owns one of these bikes were full of praise. Full of praise. Really quite surprising. I have a good mate, my mate Mooley, who's owned a couple of Ducatis, including a V2 Multistrada, and his experience was not good at all, both in terms of build quality of the bikes and customer service. The V2 was actually customer service. I think it was the Monster, or was it a Diavel? I think it was a Monster he owned. That was build quality, but that was a few years ago. So I was very surprised to hear people singing praises about both Ducati and their dealerships and the dealer network. Sounds very BMW-esque in that it seems to be becoming quite uniform across the board. Obviously there's going to be exceptions, I appreciate that. But this is something like 9,000 mile service intervals. Ducatis come with a 4 or is it maybe 5-year warranty now. So Ducati, obviously they've been bought out by Audi now, but that quality is definitely coming through. The build quality of the bike is superb. It is superb. The finish on it is lovely. So that'll suggest ownership of one of these is going to be a little bit more expensive than the GS, but not massively. Although when you take into account fuel, you're going to spend a lot more on fuel. and probably tyres, because with that engine you're just going to be on the throttle all the time, which is obviously going to eat your tyres and drink your fuel. Certainly until the novelty wears off, if it ever will. I can't see how this would. Although if you live down here in the southeast of England, there's no point. You'd be better off just pushing it. Get out my way. Ooh, I just thought of something else I don't like about the bike. It's got a chain. Now I know, yes, I know it's pedantic, I know it's ridiculous. But see, when you've lived with a shaft drive, when you've been shafted for many, many years, it's quite a jolt to go back to chain. It really is. Shaft drive is just so easy, you don't need to worry about anything. With a chain, you've got to keep them lubed, you've got to keep them relatively clean, you've got to keep them relatively at the right tightness, tautness. Speaking of which, with a Ducati, you're going to need the relevant nut socket, axle socket thing, the right size for it. You're going to have to cart that around with you, and it needs to be tightened to 185, I think it is, Newton meters. You're not getting that off at the side of the road. You're going to need proper machinery for that, hydraulic stuff, like an impact driver or something. So if you're going to bring that with you on tour, that's another big, bulky, heavy bit of kit that you need to bring with you. Some people do that, though. But yeah, it's just something else to keep in mind, for sure, if you're going to own one of these and you intend to do a little bit of touring on it, but you're going to be away from home. But apart from that, I don't think there's anything else. Right, we're nearly at the shop. Let's go and see Sam. Conquerors, there we go. Look at that. Look at that. It's looking good, isn't it? Wow. And action.
Wow.
Hi.
What a surprise.
How are you?
I'm all the better for seeing you.
Excellent. Is this Conqueror's motorcycle apparel?
It is indeed. Would you like a Magnum?
Right, folks. Conqueror's motorcycle apparel. Look at this. I'll use the wide angle. There we go. Boom. Sam, what do you specialise in? In fact, hang on. Sam.
Yes.
What do you stock at Conqueror Motorcycle Apparel?
Motorcycle apparel.
Work with me, Sam.
Helmets, jackets, security, intercoms, cleaning kit. You name it, we've got it.
Any brands in particular, Sam?
Next.
He's new to this.
5, Oxford, Krieger, Motor Girl for women, Red Torpedo for clothing, our own clothing.
And where do people go if they can't make... What is the address here?
Yeah.
Down below.
It'll be on
this address that's just come up right here. And what is your website, Sam?
www.conquerorsapparel.co.uk.
Awesome. Thank you. I need gloves. Look, Matt, watch.
What was that?
See? Look. Can be done. So I am now the proud owners of some Knox Urban Pro gloves. These are lovely. They look great, they're really comfortable, and they're really nice and supple. They've got the old finger doodah so I can work the phone display when I'm stationary, obviously. And there's lots of feel there so I can feel the cameras and the camera buttons and things. Perfect. Ah, look, and now we're into a 40. Awesome. Ooh, these are all new roads and nationals. Oh, I do love the sound of this bike. It is so engaging. It really is a fun bike to ride. Just growls at you, doesn't it? But for me, it's the engagement. I really, really value and love the engagement you get back from some bikes. And this is definitely one of them that rewards a little bit of fun with the throttle. Oh, very KTM-esque, but not quite the KTM. It's just not quite the KTM. Engine's beautiful though. It's got a lovely guttural growl to it. throttle's beautifully smooth, it's not lurchy, lumpy, nothing of that. I forgot to tell you, this has got hill hold control as well, so look, not touching. You just squeeze the front brake as usual and it goes into hill hold control. But it doesn't release when you touch the brake, look. Oh, no, nothing. Yeah, to release you literally just have to apply the throttle. On the GS you can just tap the brake again and it switches off. And I found also sometimes after like 10 seconds this one lets go. Other times it doesn't, but sometimes it does, and I don't really know why it does. Might be to do with the severity of the incline maybe, I don't know. It's not very reassuring when, you know, you have it on hill hold control and then it just lets go for some reason, you don't know why. But anyway, back to riding. Let's chat about engine modes. Okay, engine modes. I mentioned earlier that this thing has, I think, 4 different engine modes. It's got like a road. In fact, let's have a little look at them. Find a reasonable stretch of road. Bright lights, okay, you can see what's going on there. That's a mode button, nice and easy to operate with your thumb. So tap that. So we've got Sport, Touring, Enduro, and Urban. I mean, Urban I don't see the point in. Enduro is if you're going to be doing any loose terrain type stuff. Touring. So you got to close the throttle. That's us in Touring. Now Touring is actually a little bit smoother. You can feel the suspension soften and adapt. And the throttling is just that little bit smoother. It's not quite as frantic, not quite as direct and instant as it is in sport mode. If you've got a pillion on the back, and certainly if you're going to be doing a lot of big mile touring, then probably Touring is where you want it to go, because it's altogether much more, I'm going to say relaxed, but it's not slow. The bike is still really dynamic and a lot of fun to ride, but it's just got a wee, it's just got manners. It's minding its P's and Q's. Thank you, Mrs. Patterson. You know what I mean? It's behaving itself a little bit more. When you put it into sport mode up, push the button, close throttle. When you put it in sport mode, straight away you can feel it sort of like up go the haunches. It's flexing. The engine note changes, and it just becomes like it's like a dog on heat, you know what I mean? It's pulling at the leash. Let me go. It wants to go. I always have it in sport mode. It's just a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun. Keys, right, okay, so the 2024 Ducati V4S Multistrada Grand Tour. It is keyless. Some of you hate it. I personally love it, and I particularly love it when it's keyless for the whole bike. So you don't need the keys for anything really, and that's the case with the GS. You don't need the keys for anything, you just have to have them on you. For the rally version, for some reason you need the key to open the petrol tank, which I think is just ridiculous. And you need the key to lock the panniers. Again, bit of a pain in the bum, but not a massive one. But the petrol cap is. Like, why is it keyless, but you need the key for the petrol cap? I don't get that. So I like this one for the Grand Tour. It's totally keyless. I like that. Some people say, oh, it causes issues. Sometimes it won't open the fuel cap. I think generally that is user error. When you stop the bike, you have normally 20 to 30 seconds usually in which to open the fuel cap before the central locking kicks in. A lot of people aren't aware of that. So yeah, as soon as you stop the bike at the petrol station, get your fuel cap open, and then you shouldn't have any issues. Oh, and into a 30, you kidding me? Why is this a 30? Why? Why is this a 30? Look at it. I mean, you could maybe make this a 50. Right, let's go and have a chat. Typical. This is me doing the beauty shots.
and the heavens have opened. But I want to show you this, the luggage. So these are the side panniers. They're not waterproof, they do leak, so keep that in mind. Okay, so that's about the size of them. This is my top box bag. This fits in the normal BMW top box, no problem. It's designed for that. Just fits in, no bother. Now, I'm not going to be able to do this with one hand. Hang on. Okay, so that is in. That's about all you're going to get in there. Is one small bag. Lock. Done. Keep in mind that that is not waterproof. It does leak. This other side, pretty pointless. You can't really get too much in there at all. Hang on. Let me give you a rub. The panniers for the Rally are much better. They're the traditional big boxy aluminium ones. They're a lot better. These ones, these come with the Grand Tour. They're included in the price. Right, I think that is pretty much set in for the day, and tomorrow it's supposed to be even worse. So I will sum up on the bike. Let's get back on the bike. Helmet cam, cockpit cam, sync come up, 1, 2, 3. Right, I'm going to have to be quick because I think I'm low on batteries and I didn't bring many with me. Okay, so what do I think of the 2024 V4S Ducati Multistrada Grand Tour? Well, I make no bones about it. I love it. I love the bike. It's engaging, it's rapid, it handles like a dream, it's comfortable, the engine is beautiful, it's fast as, not the quickest, but it is fast. It does make you feel rapid. I think it looks really good. Negatives, fuel range isn't great on this one. Still sort of usable, 130, 140 miles caning it. You're going to get a lot less if you are ride it like a track bike, obviously. But you can certainly have some fun as a hooligan and expect to get a good 130, 140 miles before the fuel light comes on. Yeah, it's comfortable. I would say it's fairly practical as well. You can eat mileage on this thing with a massive smile on your face. Heated seats, heated grips. If it was my bike, I'd want a bit of a bigger screen maybe. I would invest in better luggage, because the pannier system is pretty basic and not particularly big. Negatives, other than the fuel capacity, it is hot. It does get very, very hot. There's vents there to try and cool it down, but I did find over in the Pyrenees, my inner legs were getting very warm. Would I have one over the GS? I am a GS man. Well, I'm a KTM man, I think, ultimately, but I like the security and customer service I get with my BMW dealership. Group 1 down in Brighton, give them a big up, fantastic customer service. Yeah, I would stick with the GS at the moment. The GS isn't as engaging, but ultimately it's a faster bike. I think I actually prefer the looks. I just need it to be a bit more engaging. So I've got a few toys and bells and whistles that I'm going to be throwing at mine just to see. I would not, and I repeat this, I would not be upset if I had one of these in the garage, but I would take the KTM Super Adventure S over this personally. But this is a fantastic bike. That's so addictive. I'm going to miss that engine. Right folks, if you fancy one, get down to your local Ducati dealership, ask to chuck your leg over, take one for a spin. Tell them TeapotOne sent you. Let me know how you get on. A massive thanks to Ducati UK for giving me the bike on loan. And all that remains, folks, is hope you've enjoyed the vid. Remember to smash that subscribe and like button, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. Get on out there whenever you can, look after those that you love. But most importantly, that camera's just died. Live your life. Woo-ha! See ya, folks.